This is your Barbados Today evening news update for Tuesday, July 17. So glad you can join us. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Prime Minister Mottley today offered an olive branch to anyone in public life who may have engaged in wrongdoing ahead of the passage of legislation to stamp out corruption. In her contribution to the debate on the Integrity in Public Life Bill 2018 in Parliament, she said her government is determined to rid the country of the practice, but it will not embark on a witch hunt or a mission of vengeance to prosecute those found guilty. In fact, she said now would be a good time for anyone who wishes to confess to come forward, saying there would be no retribution.
Does this country give second chances? Yes, it does. I said so. Even when you're convicted, having been found guilty after pleading not guilty. All the more so if you come forward and confess up front that, look, something happened that should not have happened. And I say to those today through you, sir, that the Attorney General is available to take and listen to anyone in this country who recognizes that there's a come to Jesus moment that ought to happen for some people in this country. And that pending the passage of the legislation, that they may want to do a sealed statement and give it to the Attorney General. Really. Because we have to put this behind us at some point. And it is always better, as in the case of a family disciplining its own, as in the case of a person going before the law courts this morning, for you to say an incident has happened. It is something with which I am familiar. It is something with which I've had a part to play, but I wish now to beg for forgiveness and to move on.
The Prime Minister, however, noted that those who refuse to take the offer will feel the full brunt of the law. She said the country cannot withstand the impact of corruption and therefore it must be eradicated.
The wholesale plundering that took place with the fiat of a government must never happen in this country again. And what this legislation seeks simply to do is to create an institution that will hold each and every member of this institution, this parliament, each and every member of the executive, each and every permanent secretary or head of department, each and every chairman of a board. It seeks to hold people, judges, magistrates. It seeks to hold all of us who assume a leadership position, a fiduciary leadership position, accountable.
In other news this Tuesday, organizers of the Puff of Color event today strongly condemned the lawless behavior of some patrons who were engaged in a brawl at last Sunday's event. Videos circulating on social media showed a group of young men throwing rocks, wood, and other weapons at each other as they ran through the private cemetery at Coleridge Memorial Gardens. Spokesman for the event, Wayne Simmons, appealed to witnesses to assist police in ongoing investigations as he issued an apology. Saying that organizers were appalled by the fracas, he however dismissed suggestions that there was not enough security at the event.
This organization complies with the instructions of the security forces by engaging officers of the Royal Barbados Police Force and goes beyond to employ private, qualified personnel to ensure the safety of all patrons. I can report that within the actual venue where the event itself is held, there were no reports of disorder brought to our attention. We do not condone the action of those who, after leaving the performance venue, trespass on private property or in any other way are disruptive to the acceptable bounds of decency.
Despite the incident, Simmons assured that Puff of Color is here to stay, saying it is a major contributor to the economy.
Not at all. We have a responsibility, okay? And it's a social responsibility. And we will fulfill that from get-go. Listen, this started in a car park, all right? With a few fellas getting together and selling some drinks. we were all on the back of a van back then, rushing from work home to try to get a little power system up. It went from there to we went on a boat, to we went into a bigger car park. And we realized that, you know, maybe it has to go someplace where you won't infringe on anybody's rights. It went in a quarry. Nobody's endeavored to do what they do. All right? With all respect, I don't know who has the balls to try to do it. But it is done. And it's a flag bearer for Barbados.
There were grand birthday celebrations at the geriatric hospital today. Marilotte Cooper, the island's latest centenarian, enjoyed the company of an honored guest, Governor General Dame Sandra Mason, family and friends. The soft-spoken Cooper was happy to reach the milestone.
I feel very good. I feel wonderful. Very true to be that age.
Her nephew, Jeffrey Coppin, described his hard-working aunt as a quiet woman.
As you see her, they're very quiet, very reserved. I've never yet seen nobody in her house or hear her go, no one, you know. This is just, she always tell me that she was going down on Saturdays and meet with people at the supermarket during bottom of the street and corner high street, you know. But as you see her, she was always very quiet.
In sports, explosive all-rounder Andre Russell is poised to play his first one-day international in 3 years after being named in the 13-man squad for the 3-match series against Bangladesh starting next Sunday in Guyana. The 30-year-old Russell is back after a year-long ban for an anti-doping violation that ruled him out of all competitive cricket last year. Noticeably missing from the squad is veteran right-hander Marlon Samuels. And the full team reads Jason Holder captain, Devendra Bishu, Chris Gale, Shimron Hetmeyer, Shea Hope, Alzari Joseph, Evan Lewis, Jason Mohammed, Ashley Nurse, Kimo Paul, Kieran Powell, Rovman Powell, and Andre Russell.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news, in Trinidad and Tobago, the United National Congress has wrestled away one local government district from the PNM. The party successfully contested the Barataria district in yesterday's local election. Despite losing Belmont East to the PNM, Kamla Persad-Bissessar believes her party has sent a strong message to the PNM that not only is their support base growing, but the people are turning their backs on the Keith Rowley-led administration. Akash Samaru of CNC3 Television reports.
Well, this was awkward. It was at this moment the PNM thought it had retained Barataria. It was only after the arrival of the Prime Minister that they realized that victory for Barataria belonged. A victory for Sharon Maraj Dara means that the UNC will have 3 representatives at the San Juan Laventil Regional Corporation. For Kamla Persad-Bissessar, she believes it means that her party's support is growing outside of its traditional base.
So here in Barataria we increased our votes, and in Belmont, the heartland of the PNM, we increased UNC votes by 200%.
Mrs. Persad-Bissessar says this shows that nowhere is safe for the PNM, and a general election may have to be called sooner rather than when it is constitutionally due.
Tonight we say to you, Dr. Rowley, your days are numbered. The people are fed up with the non-performing, incompetent, arrogant, corrupt and clueless government of Dr. Keith Rowley.
Further afield, Prime Minister Theresa May narrowly avoided a defeat in Parliament at the hands of pro-EU lawmakers from her own party today, fending off a rebellion that had threatened to deepen a crisis over her Brexit strategy. Parliament voted 307 to 301 against an amendment to trade legislation in a vote that was seen as a test of May's ability to deliver a British exit from the European Union and keep her job. The amendment would have required the government to try to negotiate a customs union arrangement with the EU if by January 21, 2019, it had failed to negotiate a frictionless free trade deal with the bloc. And that's news. But for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good evening.